Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott Wave update for basic attention token. Now, full disclosure, I got stopped out in this trade in profit. I was raising my stops expecting a third wave to play out and ended up getting stopped out. Luckily, I got a very good entry, so I won a couple units on it, but I want to show you my expectation now. And when these things happen, you don't have to let emotions take over and do something irrational, get into a short or get into a long out of nowhere. So if this is bullish, I want to show you my perspective long term. Now, I showed this example in Dog with Hat. You can use the same on a different timeline. So if this is our low in June and we have a diagonal off the bottom, what is our expectation in time for our third wave in blue? What I find to be true in trading, in my perspective, is sometimes it depends how bullish it is. Sometimes you can get faster at the 618. Standard for a third wave is between the 1-to-1 and the 1.618. I use that as a guideline. So you could say, oh, earliest we'd expect to hit targets is June. It's quite a ways out, right? Normal would be August. Extreme would be out in December. So just keep that in mind out in the daily. So you don't need to freak out on, the 15-minute candles to get the right direction. Now, based on the countdown here, it's either very bullish and where I would expect to get extreme targets, targeting more like the 2.618 extension for our third, which is a pretty significant move to the upside. At current price, 300% by within a couple months. That's a pretty good setup. And if this is as bullish as the setup shows, then we have a very tight range we can trade in, which is nice. One other thing you can do, I've noticed this many times in previous markets, is we tend to get kind of a bowl-shaped pattern. You've seen this before. People call them like cup and handles, right? Where that would make a larger 1-2. So it usually tends to take a similar amount of time from the high to the low projected out in time. So we can even do that. Take our high off our low, project 1-to-1 in time, just to give us more of a perspective, see if things line up. And you can see that lines up, have it in green, lines up exactly at the 1.618 of this current one too. So very interesting, right? We could expect, maybe we'll break all-time highs by them or be right near that high, which would argue the fact that this is potentially quite bullish, and we could target potentially the 1.618 extension and expect something more like this. Now I'm going to get into the smaller count just to show you that current setup. It's nice because it's a very tight risk reward, but if we get this, it's a very nice potential upside. So I have the fibs marked out from the high to the low. We got the 382, the 50, the 618, and the 786. Those are areas where I would consider we might get a reaction, either a correction or just a liquidity grab potentially. But the most important area is right here. This is our biggest resistance area currently, right? So chances are we'll probably push up to that level. We might do some sort of liquidity grab. So these are just more ideas to keep in mind, and then pull back and consolidate in that area before making the next move. So let's dig into this area down here, because there is one scenario. It's very ugly. I'm going to be tracking it, but it's ugly. But if it works out, that potential is there. Now, the downside is if the entire market collapses and we're wrong on Bitcoin and all that, we have to be aware of that situation. And that would be where this is all part of a correction. I think it's kind of unlikely at this point, but I still have to consider it. This This would be sort of a W. We get our X wave and we get a 3-wave move, right? And then we'd come back to the downside. And this would all be some sort of flat pattern. I think it's unlikely personally, but we have to at least be aware of that. And it would reject from pretty much the area it's at now. So let's go down to the 4-hour and talk about the situation I'm suggesting. And what I'm suggesting is nested 1-2s. So we had a diagonal off our low. Nice 3-wave pullback between the 50 and the 618. But this area took me off guard yesterday. I was expecting, I had a really nice trade set up here, if you remember, on this leg. Let me go down to the 50-minute. Literally on this leg was my entry. Very tight stop. I let it run. Popped up here, and I expected this to be a 4th wave, obviously continuation. It's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get our pullback and keep running, right? Clearly we did not get that. This is impossible to make a 5-wave out of, so it has to be 3 in my point of view. So my suggestion is, even though it's very ugly, that's the problem when we get like diagonals, is we are getting 3 diagonals on 3 different degrees. That is my point of view currently. Or we collapse and make those lower lows. We're completing a very complex Y wave with combinations where this is our W, X, Y. So if we hold these levels, I am very bullish, and I think we'd have 3 diagonals back to back at different time frames. So you can see this is our largest time frame, 1, 2. This is our smaller time frame, 1, 2, as a diagonal right here. You can throw on those placeholders for now. I'm not projecting these out right now. This is just to show you what I am considering. So that would be the next level. And then we have another 1, 2 in a smaller time frame. So it should happen faster than this previous one, just like that one happened faster than this previous one. We're on smaller time frames. So if we have a 1, 2, 1, 2, we're looking for 3-wave patterns here. We had a complex correction here. I have this as a flat and a zigzag. W, X, Y. This is actually our low for wave 2. That's how I have it. And then we had a 3-wave move up, 3-wave move back. So expectations here. I'm actually looking for a trade setup now. This third 1, 2 diagonal, this is our wave 1 and 2 in it, came between the 60 and the 786. That's what you would expect in a diagonal. We can make deeper corrections, right? So this is an ABC up. WXY back, double zigzag, looking for just these targets for this diagonal, which is between the 1.236 and 1.382, between 38 cents, 38.49, and basically 40 cents. These can get extended too. These are just my standard guidelines. We then get our 4th wave. Maybe we overlap with the 1, maybe we don't. We don't have to. If you don't understand that, I suggest updating your Elliott Wave knowledge. Get the newest book. The rules have changed on diagonals. And then we'd hit our target for our 5th at 42 cents for our 3rd 1, 2. And then we'd get our pullback, and then we'd finally go in that massive move. This is my green area. I suggested there's a lot of resistance in. So we'll see if we stop in that area. If we get extended here, which is always possible too, might pop above, pull the liquidity, then come back. But that area is just around the 382. Where are we on log? It's probably pretty far away. Yeah, or on linear. So this is what I'm looking for. If this is what I'm looking for, is there a trade here? I would argue there is. Remember, basically, invalidation of all of this is this too low right here. That's where we collapse and make new lows in this current count. So my trade setup, I'm going to take this just as a scalp, just going to take the third, is that we have 5 waves up here off the low. That's my hard stop. So in this scenario, not trying to predict a future or saying this has to happen, that's where my stop, max stop will be. Or I'll put invalidation, because my stop will be higher. But so off this low, we're looking to make some sort of zigzag. So we should be making higher highs. But remember, it can get complex, just like this one. This is most likely like a running flat, or ABC, running flat, ABC, like a WXY. Don't get too obsessed with the count. Just pay attention to the waves, that it can be like most likely an ABC up, flat, and then another ABC, like a double zigzag. So this looks like potentially 1, 2, 3, 4 in a triangle, 5 to the upside. So it looks like we have 5 waves up potentially. This looks like 5 down. You can see that. It's pretty clear. 5 down. So what I'm looking for is we can come up a little higher. Again, we can make those running flats. If this ends up being not 5 waves, but something complex. So I'm looking for a 1-to-1 extension of this wave as a zigzag currently. This is where I want to get in for that third wave, which I'm targeting up around 40 cents, just between that zone. So this is the setup I'm looking for on basic attention token. A lot of the other ones made the same move. You'll go back and take a look. Unfortunately, I got stopped out because obviously I was playing this as a 4th wave here and was looking for that to the upside, which I think is a good bias to have when we break out like that. Unfortunately, I just got broken out right here on this candle. I moved my stop to that wave 1 invalidation. So if you agree with my analysis, you make your own decisions if you want to trade that or not. This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to pull on the micro here, down at the 3-minute, put on my fibs. We might not even get that big of a retracement. Remember, just looking for the 1-to-1 of that A wave. For my entry, might even be a 236. We'll see. Oh, we might get a 382. Yeah, it looks like this could actually be a 3-wave ABC. Looks like there's 5 waves here. So we could end up making a flat if we need to on the micro, which would just mean we drag up here, come and look for our entry here, protect this A wave. That's the only difference if we don't come straight down from here. And that would change my setup a little bit, because if we make that B wave, that'd be a little better, because then I can have a tighter stop. But if we make this C wave, I'll target the 1-to-1, probably put my stop below this level here. So let's pull our fibs, anticipating both scenarios. If our B wave is in, that's where our C wave most likely will come. That's assuming this B wave is in. We'd look between the 618 and the 1-to-1. Ideally make a new low below that A wave. Put on our background color. So that's where our C wave would likely come if we hold this pivot as our V wave. Right in this zone between 30.83 and 31.26. That's our ideal area. We'll see if we get that, because I wouldn't be surprised to see this keep grinding up and then make a C wave here, just because we'd be more likely to protect this fourth wave as support, right? We don't really want to break a major support here. But that's my trade setup. If we come up, I'll look for the 1-to-1 and move that pivot. My stop will go at this A wave. If we come straight down here, I'll probably put my stop just below this pivot here. And targeting up around that 38 to 40 cents. But it looks pretty good. I'd expect this to get complex. It won't be 5 waves. It might be an A, B, sorry, I didn't label that properly. Might be an A, B, C, then we get an X wave and another A, B, C to the upside. But it wouldn't be 5, right? Because we're in a diagonal. So we'll mark that as such. That would be an A, B, C to the upside. All right, that's my trading plan, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. And if we break that level, I would be biased that we're moving to the downside. So that would end up being a 1-to-1 up here, something like that, A, B, C. Get some sort of sideways consolidation, come up and make another ABC, something like this. It'll look like this, something really ugly. All right, guys, so that's what I'm looking for. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.